Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait a couple minutes for everyone to join. In the meantime, if you want to tell us your favorite Thanksgiving side in the chat, that's what Rowan and I were just talking about. So I'd love to hear that as people trickle in.
Well, it's going to be slightly controversial. As an Australian, I didn't grow up with Thanksgiving. So we ditch turkey and we have lamb. So my favorite side is the mint sauce that goes with the lamb.
Wow, I have no idea what that is. None.
It's
Uh,
delicious.
I am going to go stuffing, which is really boring, but it's my truth.
Hopefully everyone can let us know in the chat your favorite Thanksgiving side.
Yes. All right, we got +1 to stuffing. Love that.
I'm going to just take another statement and say that Celeste is probably ramen.
Ramen. Okay.
Yeah, she just got back from Japan and she
Got it. Got it.
ate her way through ramen.
I also really like potatoes, but not mashed potatoes. I like scalloped potatoes.
There you go. They're good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think we can start. Let's see how many people we have here. I think we're good to get started. Thank you everyone for joining. I am gonna go to the next slide to introduce ourselves. But first, I'll just let you know the name of the webinar. You should know this if you registered, but we're here to talk today about 3 ways to align sales and marketing with gifting. And I will kick it off with my intro. My name is Alexandra Barca. I am the Director of Demand Gen here at Postal. Been with Postal for about 2 years, and I lead everything demand gen, account-based marketing, and operations here at Postal. And I'm based in New York City. And I'll pass it over to Rowan.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Rowan Tonkin, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Planful. I've been here a little over 4 years now. I'm based in the Bay Area. I grew up in Australia and I've lived in London for a long time as well. So really excited to be here and talk to you all things Planful and Postal, where fun news is we're mutual customers of each other's products, and we thought it'd be interesting to talk to you all about how we leverage both products as part of that sales and marketing alignment strategy. So really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we thought it would be also good to just talk a little bit about what each of our products do. I know some of you all are Planful customers, some of you are Postal customers, but you might want to learn a little bit more about the other technology. So, Rowan, I'll let you talk a little bit about Planful first.
Yeah, sure. Planful is a financial performance management platform, but one of the things that we offer is a way of helping marketers build their plan, build their budget as part of their plan, and track and manage their spend with agility. All of this means that we like to do it in the way us marketers like to plan and budget and track, which is not the way finance do it for us. And ultimately, when you get to manage your plan and manage your spend, obviously that makes it much easier to connect to your results. And so we bring the results in to track ROI, and we do that with all of our postal sends here internally as well.
Great. Yeah, in Postal, we are an offline engagement platform. We help you engage your audience, build your brand value, work on your ABM campaigns, all using offline components like gifts, swag, and direct mail. We really help you automate all those components so that you're not doing it manually or one-off, that you're really doing it in a more programmatic fashion. And we obviously use Postal here at Postal. So I'm sort of the #1 component of or proponent of using gifting in your marketing strategy. And like Rowan mentioned, we're mutual customers of each other. So I use Planful to track the ROI of my postal spend, which has been awesome. So before we get into it, just really quickly, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A section on the bottom of your Zoom, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can before the end of the session. But like we said at the beginning, we're going to be talking about how to align sales and marketing. And Rowan and I are both marketing leaders and have worked with various sales teams over our careers. And I think It's so important to build goodwill and trust with your sales counterparts. And I think incorporating gifting into your strategy is a really sneaky way to build that alignment. It's not maybe the first thing you think of when you think about building alignment, but it truly has helped us both build alignment with our sales team. And we're going to talk about 3 ways that we've done that. The first being helping to book meetings within your target accounts. Any day that you're setting up a really high quality meeting with a sales target account, it's a good day on the marketing team. And we're going to talk about how to do that with gifting. The second is using gifting to drive better engagement and better conversation at in-person events. So we're all getting back out there at in-person events, and you're usually staffing your booths with salespeople or dinners with salespeople. And we're going to talk about how you can use gifting to get more and better conversations at those events. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, how you can stack up your gifting spend against other channels and really prove to your sales counterparts, sales leaders, that you're spending your marketing dollars wisely and you're not just, sending over crappy leads from wasteful ad campaigns, and that you're actually using your dollars strategically and using a tool like Planful to really prove that out. Anything to add there, Rowan, or does that kind of set us up?
Well, I think these are just three example ways of helping align marketing and sales, as you said, setting up, great target accounts and building on a great foundation is probably the most important part. These are three techniques and tactics that
Yep.
once you've got that foundation, really help you accelerate what you're trying to do and accelerate that strategy. And as we're going to talk about at the end, really look at that as an overall holistic part of your CAC,
Yeah.
and help prove to sales that, hey, marketing does have an impact on delivering you guys high quality, high velocity pipeline.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think we only had, 25, 30 minutes here today. We wanted to come at you with like 3 really great tactics that weren't super high level. So to Rowan's point, you need a good foundation with, a good account-based strategy, but these are some tactical examples we thought we could chat about. So we're going to start with booking meetings within target accounts with gifting. And I thought no better way than showing an actual example of an ABM campaign that we ran here at Postal. So whenever I run these ABM campaigns, I always create a timeline like this that shows sort of the sequence of tactics, when they're happening, who's leading them. And what I think is important to note out here is that we ran this campaign against 225 target accounts for a quarter. And it all started with this gift on the left hand side of your screen here. We called it a growth box because it had a plant and some chocolate and a candle. And we had a little card in it that said, like, grow your pipeline while saving costs. So we created a little pun that went along with the gift. It's a really high quality gift, good unboxing experience. And we actually had this come from an executive on our team, our VP of marketing, and we had it get sent to executives within the target account list because we were trying to book meetings with them. And oftentimes when you have an ABM campaign, you're serving ads or you're sending email nurtures from the marketing side, and then you're asking your AEs and SDRs to prospect into those same accounts. And we said, we want to close that gap even more. We want to actually prospect into these accounts with gifts from our executives in order to help our AEs book those meetings and not just ask them to call and email every day and expect them to get results. So we started off with this gift, and then we rolled that into a regular sort of outreach sequence that many people are probably running today, where they're sending all types of content throughout the quarter, starting with really top of the funnel content and getting deeper into the funnel. But they were able to call back to that gift in all of their emails, like, hey, would love for you to redeem this gift, would love to get some time on your calendar to see what you thought of it. So it was a really great anchor for this campaign. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the ads. So I do think that ad campaign or ABM campaigns involve ads typically, but we found that when we were running display ads, they were really wasteful, right? We were saying, we're serving, tens and thousands of impressions to your accounts. Why aren't you able to book meetings? But that's all they were, is they were impressions. So we felt like we were wasting money. So we actually centered our entire ad strategy in these ABM campaigns around the gift. So we actually served LinkedIn conversation ads, which I took a little screenshot of on the next slide so you could see what it looks like, coming from our VP of marketing, offering the gift in exchange for a conversation with her. So we're spending money against these target accounts, but we're actually trying to provide them something in exchange for booking meetings. And to get to kind of the punchline here, we saw a lot of really great results. So as I mentioned, we targeted 225 accounts. We were able to get 67 of those growth gifts redeemed. And from those, our sales team was able to book 23 meetings. So we didn't require a meeting necessarily in order to redeem a gift, but once people redeem a gift of that high quality, of that sort of high value, they're likely to take a meeting with your sales team. And then of that, 14 were high quality opportunities for 300K in pipeline and almost 100K in revenue. And we still actually have some of these opportunities open, so that could be even more. And our spend was quite low, right? We spent money on those gifts, which I mentioned, I think we're around like $125 value. And then we spent some money on LinkedIn ads, but we weren't spending, hundreds and thousands of dollars on display and getting very little in return. So we're actually able to see over a 3x ROI on a campaign like this. And it's really because we revolved it all around this gift send in order to book meetings with the sales team. So anytime that we can get 14 high quality opportunities for our sales team within their target account deck, it's just increasing that alignment. And we've actually run this campaign every quarter since, and the sales team has given us really great feedback on it.
Alex, can you, I think one of the highlights here for me is, you've got 225 accounts. I'm sure you've got multiple personas that you're sending to. One of the things that strikes me, and we do this as well, is the good news is you're not spending money on the gift unless someone wants it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If someone redeems it.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, when we think about ABM, we think about like the upfront cost. Oh, well, I'm going to send this to 500 people at $125 a clip is, that sounds expensive.
Yes.
Sure, the ROI would have just been as, not as good, but would have been still good if you sent it all. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that process works with Postal?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, and I'll go back really quickly. Basically, what happens is this gift that's over here will get sent in a gift email, which is basically an email on behalf of this executive. So on behalf of Lauren, to any contacts at the target accounts that the salespeople has deemed appropriate. So to your point, personas, we were really only reaching out to VPs of marketing and sales in this case, because that's kind of our target persona. So, hundreds and hundreds of email came from Lauren to these accounts or these contacts, but only 67 redeemed. So we know if they redeemed, they're actually interested in having a conversation with us. And we're not spending money on all of these other people that we wanted to send gifts to. And I feel like before the pandemic, that's what direct mail was, right? You were just sending gifts to people's offices, hoping it landed on their desk. And I think now it's a lot more of, we want people that are truly interested in our product to opt in, and we're not wasting dollars on people that may not even open the gift when it gets to them.
Or just tossing it straight in the bin.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's one of the worst parts about sending gifts. You're like, oh, I feel like I'm being wasteful. So
exactly.
ESG and CSR initiatives, this is another way to help your marketing programs from that perspective too.
Exactly. And I just see two questions in the chat that I can answer really quickly. Someone said, are the leads you're sending gifts to warm? Not necessarily, but to what I said earlier, they are our key persona. So they are the people that we want to get in front of, and they don't necessarily need to be warm because, like Rowan said, it's not like we're just sending them to anyone. We're only sending them to people that truly redeem them. And the other person that asked the question said, are they able to redeem the gift without scheduling a demo? What's really interesting in Postal is you can set it up either way. You can say, only give this gift to people that schedule time on Lauren's calendar or the AE's calendar, or you can say, give this gift to them and then surface a calendar for availability. There's all this like psychological stuff behind it, right? Should you require a meeting? Should you not require a meeting? We've tried both. And with Postal, you can do either. I believe with this campaign, we didn't require it up front. We just said, here's a gift. And then we surfaced Lauren's calendar, and a good amount of people booked. But if you really want to make sure that people are talking to you, you can just toggle on that switch and require meetings.
Yeah, I can answer. I won't say which found which first, but the psychology of this is the law of reciprocity. So I imagine the gift that I'm seeing here is a plant, and you're hoping someone will keep it on their desk, right? So every day when they come to their desk, whether it's walking from the kitchen to the room or however they're doing it, they're looking at that plant growing, and they're like, oh, the Postal team sent me that. And it just continues to reinforce the brand in their mind. So
Yeah.
depending on the tactic, if your tactic is more brand awareness and just building your brand with a group of target accounts, then not requiring the demo is a good
Yeah.
way of doing that. Um, if this is very much a lead gen pipe creation campaign, coming
Yeah.
back to goals, then forcing them to
Yeah.
accept upon taking a meeting is another good way of doing it. So
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
option really depends on your intent.
Yeah, your intent and the cost of the gift, honestly. Like I think for this one cost around $100. So we were experimenting with not requiring it. We ran one a couple quarters later that was closer to $300. And at that point, we were requiring a meeting, right? Like if we're sending you a really high quality gift. So yeah, to Rome's point, you can experiment with it. And I don't think there's like a hard and fast answer, but we do give you that option.
And I would also say you can set it up based on the type of title as well. So you
Yep.
may say, look, if it's these folks and below, then yes, we require them to take the meeting. If it's
Yep.
these folks and above, then we're okay with them just receiving a gift because that's good brand equity that we're building with that decision maker.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, we already talked about the results, so we will go to the next tactic here.
Sure. So this is one that Planful is currently running, actually. So we don't have as well-baked metrics as you just yet, Alex. So we're currently executing a campaign that we call Surprise, and that's because nobody likes surprise during their planning season, right? Like think about it. Nobody likes to be surprised by their CFO saying, "Hey, there's a budget cut." Nobody likes to be surprised by sales saying, "Hey, we're going to miss our number because you didn't create enough pipe." Surprises, they're terrible at work. They're nice at home. So we wanted to bring some nice surprises to folks. And one of the ways that we've been running this campaign, it's a fully integrated campaign across many different channels, including our email outreach, phone-based outreach, display ads. But at our in-person events, we're trying to do something a little bit unique. For those that have been running in-person events, postage costs haven't gone down, and we've had a lot going on in the last few months. And so the team were like, I don't want to carry all this swag everywhere with stuff that people don't want. So we've almost run an incentive-based strategy at our events. We take this little Super Mario Brothers surprise box. Shout out to my kids who gave me that inspiration. And inside it, we have a whole bunch of printed QR codes. One of those QR codes inside that box has a $500 Visa incentive. And so we're trying to drive traffic to the booth via that incentive. People are naturally curious, so they look at the box and they're like, "Why is there a question mark on your booth?" They ask us. It prompts conversation, and then we let them try and draw to win that $500 Visa incentive. We've executed this across 6 events, just purely on the redemptions themselves. So we've probably had, over 500 scans where people actually scan the QR code, 58 redemptions of the gift itself. And that's led to 4 created opportunities directly from scanning the QR code. So this isn't just the kind of redemption, like the pipeline created from the events as a broad focus. This is just one subset of the event strategy itself. That has given us $183 cost per opportunity, and that's about 5 to 10x reduction for us. Like our opportunities
Yeah,
cost a lot to source.
that's huge.
So really, really powerful. Our sales team are really happy with that ROI. And so there's one question I just saw come through. Are we capturing data when they scan the QR code? Not when they scan. They need to redeem the gift to get the data. So it's not really a great way of building a list per se if they don't redeem. But we're typically scanning the badges at the booth anyway, with depending on the event and how the lead scanning process works. So this is more about the booth redemption itself. And again, we find that, when you're getting 500 QR code scans and only 58 redemptions, it's the people who want something, who are really engaged. So you're not wasting money on the folks that aren't as engaged or are just there to kick the tires of the booth or expressing some level of curiosity. Because like inherently in our own psychology, we know that if we take a gift, we're obligated to do something more for that vendor,
Yeah.
right? Like if I redeem a gift, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to take this meeting. That's the law of reciprocity. I'm getting something, so I have to give something. Like it's just human nature. So we find this is a good way of just really determining whether people were the tire kickers or whether they were genuinely interested. And they're people we put additional follow-up onto and really focus on, and that helps us create more opportunities, and we suspect that CPO is only going to increase.
Yeah, those are great CPOs and CPLs for sure. And I can attest to this as someone who's been in a lot of events near the Planful booth. People stop in their tracks and go up and ask about the box. And I think everyone tries different sort of shticks to get people to your booth at events. And I think the question mark is just ingenious, right? Like people are just so naturally curious. So this has been a huge like traffic driver to your booth. And I'm sad we didn't think of it first. All right, let's chat about the next way, which is proving out the value of your marketing spend. Rowan, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, sure. I think I can talk a little bit about this. So, the big question that we all have as we're going through our plans and our tactics is we're all under pressure to drive ROI. That's never going to go away. That's part of what we do as marketing. And I think, some of the questions I saw, it's really, let's start with the goal in mind. What are you actually trying to do with this campaign initiative tactic? So sometimes you might be using gifting as a way to accelerate pipeline. Maybe we have a program we call the LDR program, lost, derailed, or rejected opportunities. And we use gifting as a way to revive those, right? And so for us, our SDRs are allowed to go out and leverage gifting as a way to try and bring someone back, bring them back into into our conversation. Other times it might be about trying to lift the pipeline, introduce new buyers. We sell to multiple audiences, and for us, when we get more people involved in the buying process, our ACV goes up. So our SDRs are also then trying to reach out to get multi-threaded into an account. And then finally, you might just be purely just trying to create pipeline. And again, different tactics work there. So as you're thinking about the ROI, think about your tactic in mind. Like, don't just think about it from a pure ROI, dollars into result. Like that's always hard to track. Not saying don't do that, but you've got to think about the holistic incentives that you're trying to run. So on the campaign basis, measure your intentions and look at the results from a cost per outcome basis. So when we think about this surprise campaign, we're looking at the whole campaign holistically and its ROI. And it's not as good as $183 cost per opportunity. But this one tactic inside of that overall campaign is. And so at a holistic level, we're really happy with the way that the program is going. At a tactic level, I love that that tactic because I can get the results. I can see that it works better than some other tactics, but I've also got a captive audience there. So the goal is slightly different and our intention is slightly different. And then, so the third bullet point here is evaluate that against the broader goals of your initiative. So maybe you're looking for one CPL with your display ads, which we're running at the same time to these audiences. We're running them on location based around these events. We're also then running these, we're paying for the event itself, and then we're paying for gifts inside the event. And so each of those tactics has its own intention, but it's got an overall ROI goal for the whole strategy. And so does the program provide that balance that you're looking for? It's, marketing attribution and marketing ROI is a really difficult topic. And sometimes we get lost, in terms of looking for the finite detail versus the overall picture. And so my conversation to most of my peers as CMOs is let's look at both where we can, because if you forget about the overall ROI of the program and you're just looking at all the tactics, then you might realize that, well, the overall, that was completely inefficient. But if you're not looking at the tactics, then you're not looking for future opportunities. And so this is a way of doing that. And on the next slide, we've just got a bit of an example of how you can use Planful to do that. So, this campaign is a global multi-channel campaign called Surprise. And underneath that is all the different activities that we're doing. And each of those activities has its own performance metrics that we're integrating with Postal, with your display ad networks, with Salesforce and your campaign objects there to give you that cost per outcome and target ROI. And so not only are we tracking all of the spend for you, we're giving you all of the performance insights. So at a tactic level, you can see the performance, and that all rolls up to the global multi-channel campaign level. So right now we're seeing the ABX gifting and incentives values, but you could roll that up and see the whole multi-channel campaign as well. So really helpful on giving you that multi-level ROI, and then you can see the ROI for your whole plan too through the application. So as you're thinking about gifting inside your strategies, really think about it like, what's this tactic going to do and how does it fit within the suite of other tactics within my campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned this a few times, but we're Planful customers. So using a view like this is how I kind of determined, okay, I want to lean more towards LinkedIn ads versus display ads. I'm getting a better ROI from this channel. But then I'm also able to see the full ROI of the campaign, like I mentioned before. So you can look at it very much by tactic level or as an overall level. And I feel like back to the kind of topic here, which is aligning with sales, they're maybe not as interested in individual tactic by tactic ROI, but they are interested in making sure that as a business, right, with the money that the marketing team is putting in, that they're getting really high quality opportunities coming out the other side. So I feel like having this as a way to prove out the efficacy of your gifting spend is a great way to have really high level conversations with your sales leaders about where you're putting your spend and the results that you're providing them. Instead of just going and saying, hey, we got hundreds of MQLs last month, you're able to come in with these great numbers for them. So all good stuff. I think we're almost at the end here. I think we just have one final slide, which is
Well, and it wouldn't be a planful campaign right
yeah,
now without a little surprise for all of you.
exactly.
As I
Exactly.
said, this is a fully integrated campaign. So for those of you that are on the line and really want to test out this process, scan the QR code here on your screen,
Yep.
and it'll take you to a gift. Now, if you do redeem the gift, obviously we're spending money. We just talked through this. Don't be surprised if you get some BDR outreach, and don't be surprised if the psychology works. If you redeem and don't take the meeting, you may still just sit there, be thinking about that little gift that you're receiving and thinking about Planful one day. And that's very intentional.
100%. And the whole redemption process will be through Postal. So you'll get a little taste of both products if you redeem one
Yeah.
of these gifts today. I think we just have one final slide that has our contact info on it. Reach out, planful.com/marketing or postal.com. We have a couple minutes left if anyone has any questions. I know we answered questions throughout, but we have 1 or 2 minutes. We can just see if any questions come in.
Yeah, happy to answer anything that you guys have.
Maybe we answered it all. I think we did a tight 28. I'm happy with that, Rowan.
Always
Also,
keeping it on track.
exactly. Oh, we will send the recording. Yes, that's a great question. We will send them out tomorrow afternoon. Likely, we'll have the recording out. How do you deal with negative feedback from the sales team? That's a great question. Um, Rowan, what I'd love for you to answer first.
Negative feedback from the sales team. Depend who in the sales team is really
Yeah,
important question.
yeah,
Look, the greatest way in marketing to get feedback is to ship whatever it is you are doing.
yeah,
So you're always going to get feedback. Negative feedback, it's important to understand the context as to what the negative feedback is. So is it coming from a place of, hey, this isn't working, like our experience with this campaign isn't yielding the results that we're looking for? Or is it feedback that's just non-contextual,
yeah.
non-helpful? It's just like, I don't like the gift you're sending.
Right.
right? Or is the feedback aligned to your goal or your intention?
Hmm.
It's not all the time do sales teams really think through the end-to-end job of marketing. And so if the feedback is aligned with the intention, well understood, and kind of real feedback, like helpful feedback,
Hmm.
absolutely listen to it, sit down with sales, figure out what's going wrong, because they're the front lines of these conversations for you too.
Hmm.
However, if it's coming from a place of just like it's a little irrelevant, then
Yeah.
frankly, speak to the sales. If it's coming from the sales leader, you might have a different challenge. But if it's coming from just one random person in sales, feel free to ignore it. You're doing a good job. We get negative feedback all the time, but
Yeah.
it's contextual. It's not related to the intent of what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
and folks just sometimes don't understand our jobs as marketers. So
Yeah. I could not have said it my better myself. I always ask more questions like why are you feeling that way? What's the context? And then it helps you dig a little bit deeper. So love that.
yeah, there's two other comments here. How do we get them to adopt a tool? So this is actually one of my, we adopted Postal in 2020 actually. So a time where our sales team were really struggling to get anything, and I think it was May anyway. So we found that them adopting Postal, because it's so well integrated to all of the tools that they use on a day-to-day basis, they really like it. We effectively give each SDR and each AE a budget per month that they get to use on their own gifting. And then we top that up with our own campaign-based gifting funds as well that they can leverage how they want to. So really, it's because you're using that alignment and you're saying, hey, like, here's gifts to go after your target accounts.
Yep.
Sales really should be like, wow, that's a win for us. Like, we're getting resources to reach into our target accounts.
Totally.
So they should see this as a big bonus. And if they're not, really dig into why. And so our budget isn't, I can answer that. It's $1,000 per SDR per quarter. So it's not huge, but it's meaningful, and it's enough where they need to be selective and they're not just wasteful.
Yep.
Uh, and then typically sales doesn't like to see increased MQLs that are just interested in redeeming the gift. Um, that's fair criticism. If you have been giving them junk MQLs and junk leads, but when you and this is one of, I think, Alex, you mentioned it before,
Yeah.
when you're giving away high value gifts, you've got to up the incentive. And it's like, well, I'm getting you a meeting with a C-suite executive
Yep.
or the
Yep.
decision maker. So if you don't want a meeting with the decision maker, then maybe round robin the meeting to someone else.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's just you just have to target your target accounts with these high like
yeah,
not just spraying and praying gifts to any old MQL. It's simply you
yeah,
have to use it as part of an ABM strategy, I
yeah.
believe.
It has to be very thoughtful, I think,
Yeah.
is really what are some gifts that we love? I love a lot of the personalization that we can do with gifting. And that's I'll be pro postal because I am pro postal. They have an amazing selection of gifts and unique gifts that you just can't get anywhere else because they work with unique suppliers as well. And so that's something that I love, is being able to send out something to someone that is hyper personalized if I know them. I've used it in deals where I'm the exec sponsor and I send something to someone who's mentioned something. People
Yeah.
love receiving it in that way as well.
Like whiskey or a dog treat, like whatever they're into, you can
Yeah,
sell. Yeah.
yeah, a
Um,
little. I
also,
sent. Go,
really
Ali.
specifically is I just sent someone a Stanley Cup as part of a gift and they were obsessed. So like we just have a lot of things like that. And I would also say that you can send something really personal, like Rowan said, or you can send something as part of a kit, like that growth kit that I showed. Like I feel like 3 or 4 items, like this kit that we just sent had a Stanley Cup, it had 2 snacks, it had a candle and a blanket, and we rebranded it as like a cozy night in kit. So I think the more that you can do, where you have some branded items and some non-branded items in one kit, that has a thoughtful message around it, I think is really great.
And one final is branded versus non-branded. That comes back to your goals.
Yeah.
This is a one-to-one incentive. It can be completely non-branded. If this is really a driving brand awareness and engagement strategy that's more top of funnel, then branded all the way. So it really depends on where this fits within your ABM strategy.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is you already mentioned this a little bit, Rowan, but yeah, Postal integrates with your Salesforce, your LinkedIn, your outreach. So all of the tools, SalesLoft, any tool that your sales team is in, we have a Chrome extension that integrates with that. So it should be a really easy tool for your sales team to adopt. Just wanted to add that.
Awesome. Well, I think we've run out of time. So if there's any more questions, feel free to reach
Yeah.
out to us either on LinkedIn or via our websites, and we'll be happy to answer any
Yeah.
of our mutual products.
Yeah, if there's any questions we missed, we'll definitely follow up via email. But we really appreciate everyone joining, and we'll send out the recording in the next 24 hours or so. And we hope you come back for future webinars.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy those sides.
Yes.